Today we are going to discuss about virtual memory. Uh, in the virtual memory, there are two main concepts. So that is demand paging, and the next one is page replacement algorithms. So these are the main important concepts in virtual memory. So what are the contents we are going to discuss in this topic? So first of all, what is virtual memory? It's background, and then demand paging, copy and write, and next page replacement algorithms, and allocation of frames and thrashing. So in your syllabus book, there is only few topics, that is demand paging and then page replacement algorithms, thrashing. So but you need to talk about copy and write and allocation of frames too. Why? Because these two topics are important under virtual memory concept. Okay. Right. First of all, what is the need of going to virtual memory? So whenever there is a big program, you need to execute that particular program. So at that particular moment, what the user might think, so users think that, so I can keep my entire program into the main memory, and the CPU will be allocated to my program, and CPU will execute my program so that I will get the output or result, right? So but in real time it was not happened. So actually the entire program is not loaded into the main memory. As I told you earlier in our example, the program size is very big. If the program size is very big, if you want to keep your entire program into the main memory, so automatically we need to have that much huge partition to keep your entire program into the main memory. So but in real time, that much big sized main memory slot or partition may not be available, okay, contiguously. In that case, what we will do? So we need to keep a part of a program into the main memory, and that after executing that part of a program, we need to swap out that part, and we need to swap in the next part of a program into the main memory. Likewise, the entire program might not be loaded into the main memory for the execution. Okay. So let me explain the same with a paint. So all these are the lines, right? So it may not be. So one second. So what we are going to discuss? So please try to understand this concept. So what the name of the concept is virtual memory. So what is virtual memory? Virtual memory means it is not real. Virtual means not real, right? In the user view, the user might think that whenever the user want to execute a program, okay, whenever the user want to execute a program, initially the program is stored in the secondary memory. Initially the program is stored in the secondary memory. So whenever the user want to execute the program, so the program need to be loaded from secondary memory to main memory. As you know this one, right? The program need to be loaded from secondary memory to the main memory. So and then from the main memory, the program will be allocated to the CPU for the execution. So what the user will think that my entire program is loaded from secondary memory to the main memory. My entire program is loaded from secondary memory to main memory for the execution. But it is not true in the real time. It is not true in the real time. Okay, what happened? Your entire program might not be loaded into the main memory. So why, ma'am? So if there is a space, we can keep the entire program into the main memory. Of course, if the program's size is small, if the program size is small, if the program's size is small, then we can keep our entire program into the main memory and we can execute the program within no time. Of course, but if the program size is too big, if the program size is too big and that much memory is not available, memory hole or a partition is not available. Okay, the program size is, if the program size is too big and a memory partition is not available, what we will do? These are the two cases: program size is big and the memory partition is not available, and a memory big partition not available. Then what we will do? We cannot keep the entire program into the main memory. In that case, we can't keep our entire program into main memory, right? So why? Because program size is big, program size is too big, and that size memory partition is not available. So we cannot keep our entire program into the main memory. Okay, so then what we can do in order to run our program? So what is the things happen inside the computer is, your program is divided into different units. Program is divided, the program is divided into different parts or units. Okay, so that, so we can keep the first part. For example, the entire program we are divided into two parts. In that, the first part will be moved to the main memory, that is called as swap in. So swap into the main memory. Okay, so once it is in the main memory, the CPU will execute the first part. So after executing the first part, so it will be swapped out. It will be swap out from the main memory, and the second part will be swap into the main memory. Likewise, your entire program might not load it into the main memory at once in the real time. That is what you need to understand. Okay, so but what the user think that my entire program is in the main memory, but it in the real time only parts of your program in the main memory, right? So what is the reason for keeping a part of a program into the main memory? Is there any other benefits of keeping only parts of a program into the main memory? Obviously, there are so many benefits if you keep a part of a program into the main memory rather than the entire program. So why? Because if you keep your part of a program into the main memory, automatically you can keep many programs into the main memory. Many programs into main memory. That is the first benefit. Why? Because each and every program, we are keeping only part of that program into the main memory. If you are keeping only part of the program into the main memory, obviously there is much space available to keep the multiple programs into the main memory. Okay, so for example, let's say there are 5 programs. Okay, in the main memory we can keep only 5 programs. In this size we can keep only five full programs. Okay, if we divide them into half, half, so automatically how many number of programs we can keep into the main memory? 10 programs, obviously. Why? Because 5 programs we can completely keep it in the main memory, right? If we divide them into half and we keep only half programs into the main memory, so that what is it meaning? We can keep 10 programs, 10 half programs into the main memory, right? So with this concept, in main memory we can keep many programs. If we keep many programs into the main memory, what happened? CPU is always busy. CPU is always busy running the programs, with running the programs. If the CPU is always busy, automatically what happened? Throughput will be more. So whenever the throughput will be more, automatically what happened? System performance will be increased. Right? So that is the first advantage of this concept. You can keep many programs into the main memory. Okay? That means if you are not willing to keep your entire program into the main memory, so that you can partition your process and you can keep the parts of a process into the main memory. If you keep only parts of a process into the main memory, you can keep many programs into the main memory. Okay, and then what is the next advantage? So obviously as we are keeping only parts of a programs into the main memory, we require less IO. Less IO. Less IO means less input output operations required. Okay. And next one more thing. User might not worry about program size. Program size, or he might not worry about the main memory size. So why? Because anyhow we are not keeping the entire programs in the main memory, so that automatically even if the main memory is having a less number of partitions, free partitions, so user might not worry about the main memory. Why? Because anyhow we are not keeping our entire program into the main memory, right? Just we are keeping a parts of a program. Okay, so these are the benefits of using the virtual memory, right? You can keep many programs and user might not worry about the memory size or a program size. Oh my god, my program size is too big, is the memory slot available to keep my program? Such a worries are not there if you go for the virtual memory concept. So why? Because so we are not going to keep our entire program into the main memory, but all these things are not known to the user. That is the important point you need to understand. These things are not known to the user always thinking that my entire program is fit into the main memory and I am running the program um, without any trouble. So user think like that, but internally what happened? So your entire program is not loaded into the main memory. What is the reason why the entire program is not loaded into the main memory? So this is the thing you need to understand. So these sorry So these are the benefits. All these are the benefits, right? And then, so why? What is the reason of keeping only part of a program into main memory? Why? Why a part of a program kept into the main memory? Not why not the entire program? Okay. So anyhow, so whenever you want to execute a program, you need to load the required parts of a program into the main memory. So what are the modules or what are the blocks you are going to execute now? So those modules need to be kept into the main memory. For example, in our entire program, you might have some data structures and you might have some error correction codes in your program, right? Such that there are so many other modules which are not used usually in your program. So we no need to keep all these into the main memory at once, right? So whenever there is a need, so these particular modules are swapped into the main memory. So we no need to load entire program into the main memory. Only parts of the program what we are executing by the CPU, those parts only moved in or swapping to the main memory. Okay, so let me show you the slide. You can go through the slide now, right? So in order to execute a program, the codes need to be in the main memory to execute, but entire program rarely used. Of course we need to keep your program into the main memory for execution, but we cannot use the entire program at once, right? So that means what are the unusual routines and next to error codes? large data structures, all those things we are not using at a time, right? So because of that reason, we no need to keep the entire code into the main memory at once, right? And next, what are the advantage of partially loading a program into the main memory? That means partially loaded means, as I told you, we are not going to load the entire program into the main memory. Anyhow, we are not executing all the modules at the same time, right? So we are CPU will execute the program module by module. So all the important modules of a program will be loaded into the main memory, and the rest of the modules which we are not using right now are better keep it in the secondary memory itself. Only in a program the important modules will be loaded into the main memory. All the remaining parts of a program are kept in the secondary memory only. Okay, so what are the advantages? As I told you, program no longer constrained. Program no longer, sorry, there is a mistake. Not program. Program size is no longer constrained by limits of a main memory. And the user might not worry about the program size. That is, I already told you. And next, if each program takes less memory while running, that means we are keeping only parts of a program into the main memory. So that what happened? We can keep more number of programs. Follow the cursor. We can keep more number of programs at the runtime. Okay, so by that it will increase the CPU utilization. So that if increase the CPU utilization, automatically throughput will be increased. So whenever the throughput will increase, the response time, turnaround time. Turnaround time means turnaround time. What is the turnaround time and response time? So we discussed these two concepts when we talk about all the CPU utilization, throughput and response time, turnaround time. All we did, we already had a discussion. So when CPU scheduling criteria topic, when we had a discussion about CPU scheduling criteria, so where all these things come across, right? What is response time? So after submitting your program, how much time it will take to give you the first response to the user is called as the response time. What is the turnaround time? The total time uh, from submission of a program to getting the result, getting the last result, or leaving the program from the main memory. That time is called as turnaround time. The total time from entering into the main memory to leaving from the main memory. In between the execution is happened, right? So that time is called as turnaround time. Okay. Anyhow, that is a second part. So another topic. So whenever you are keeping only a part of a program into the main memory, so it takes only less memory. When it takes less memory, so all the remaining memory we can keep more number of programs. If we keep more number of programs into the main memory, automatically CPU utilization will be more. So the throughput will be more. So system performance will be more. Okay. And next, as I told you, less IO needed. And next, swapping. That means enter whenever you want to keep your program into the main memory, we need to take the program from the secondary memory and you need to load it into the main memory. So the load time will be less. Why? Because the program size is less. Only part of a program we are keeping in the main memory, so that less IO and less burden to the swap programs. Okay. The same thing, what is virtual memory? So virtual memory is a separation of user logical memory from physical memory. So all the remaining things, just what I discussed you, the same points again, repetition of same concept. Separation of user logical memory from physical memory. This is what you need to remember. What for virtual memory is a separation of user logical memory from physical memory. So with the help of virtual memory, only part of a program need to be in the memory for execution. Okay. So usually what happened? The logical address space. Observe this particular diagram. So this is the virtual memory and this is the physical memory and this is the secondary memory, backing store. Follow the cursor. Follow the cursor. So this is the secondary memory, backing store, and this is the physical memory, also called as a main memory, and it is the virtual memory. Virtual memory, if you observe here, all these are pages. Pages means it is your logical memory, and it is your process. The process is divided into pages. As you know, the process is divided into pages and main memory is divided into frames. This particular concept you should not forget. Your process, user process is divided into pages. Main memory is divided into frames. Okay, and this is called as a secondary memory and a backing store. If you observe the diagram, what is the size of this particular portion? This particular virtual memory is bigger than the physical memory. If you observe here in this diagram, the virtual memory space or logical memory space is bigger than a physical memory space, so that you cannot keep your entire programs into the main memory. Why? Because main memory is small when compared to the virtual memory or logical memory. Okay, so that you cannot, anyhow you cannot keep your entire programs into the main memory. Okay, why? Because logical memory space is much greater than the physical memory space. So in a small place you cannot accommodate big items, right? So based upon the main memory frames, we are dividing the process into number of pages. Only we are moving the required pages from your logical memory space. That means your secondary memory to main memory. Okay. That is what this point, third point, logical address space can therefore be much larger than the physical memory space. Okay. And next, as you know, the main memory is shared by several processes. Okay. So if you are running a more programs concurrently, so that the concurrently means you are keeping multiple number of programs into the main memory, so that the CPU utilization will be more, so throughput will be more. As I told you, less IO needed and less swap time requires. And next, virtual address space. Okay, so here actually, as this topic already we have discussed, the memory locations are starts at 0th location, contiguous address until the end of the space. Okay, what is logical address space? Is your process where the process is divided into pages. All the process are divided into pages. That area is called as logical address space. What is a physical address space? Physical address space means main memory, right? Then what is virtual address space? Virtual address space is nothing but a logical view of how a process is stored in the main memory. User thinks that my entire program is in the main memory. That is the reason why it is executed by the CPU. But in the real case, your entire program is not in the main memory. Okay, that is not true. So that is the reason why it is virtual or logical. So logical view of how process is stored in the memory is called as virtual address space. So as I told you, main memory starts at the 0th location. Okay, and next, physical memory is organized into page frames. This one also I told you, the process is divided into pages and the main memory is divided into frames. And next, who will convert the logical address into physical address? This one also we had a discussion in the memory management introduction concept. The memory management unit is responsible for converting the logical memory into physical memory. Okay, and next, how can we implement the virtual memory? Virtual memory can be implemented with the concept called demand paging and demand segmentation. In our syllabus, we have a demand paging. Okay, virtual memory can be implemented. How can we achieve a virtual memory concept? So virtual memory can be achieved through the demand paging or demand segmentation. So this is what I told you earlier. So virtual memory is bigger than, this is the virtual memory, bigger than the physical memory. So if the physical memory is small and the virtual memory is a big, we cannot keep all these things into the physical memory. Why? Because the physical memory is in small size when compared to the virtual memory, right? That is the reason why we are going to keep only required number of uh, pages or partitions into the main memory frames. This is the demand paging. So let me explain the demand paging. So previous slides, when there is a time, I will cover the previous slides. Okay. So we no need to think about these lines much. Why? Because whenever I explain you with the help of a diagram, automatically you are able to understand. No need to read out the slide line by line. Okay. So demand paging. What is demand paging? Demand paging, as the name indicates, paging means, what is paging? Paging means the process is divided into pages. In the paging concept, the process is divided into pages and the main memory is divided into frames. So what is virtual memory? We no need to keep your entire program into the main memory. Only parts of a program, required parts of a program need to be loaded into the main memory. All the remaining things are left remaining in the secondary memory. So if we observe here, program A, this is the main memory and this is the secondary memory. So program A will be swapped out from the main memory to secondary memory. Swap out means from main memory to secondary memory. What is a swap in? Swap in means from secondary memory or a backing store to main memory. Swap out. Swap out means from main memory to secondary memory. Swap in means from secondary memory to main memory. Okay. This is the it is not the concept of demand paging. It is just a swap out and swap in diagram. Swap out, swap in. What is swap out? What is swap in? You need to understand here. We already had a discussion, but let me remind you one more time. Swap out means from main memory to backing store. Swap in means from backing store to main memory. And the next thing, you need to understand valid invalid bit. So I already told you the page table consists of 3 entries. The outer part is the page number. Here the page numbers are not available. But usually a page table consists of two entries. One is a page number and the second one is a frame number. Which page is available in which frame? In the last class also we had discussed this thing. So page table consists of 2 entries usually. The page number, outer side page number, inner side frame number. That means which page is available in which frame. If the page is available in the frame, then it is valid. If page is not available in the main memory frame, then it is called as invalid. Okay. So let me explain you with the help of a paint. Now tell me one thing, so do you have any doubts? I'm continuously, do you have any doubts? Let me know. Up to this point, is it clear? Through the chat, you can send a message. If you have any doubts, I will explain you again. Total 56 participants. Anyone please respond fast? Okay then. Okay, I will continue. So actually what the thing is here, it is a main memory. So this is operating system and the entire remaining main memory is occupied with the user programs. Okay, this is a backing store, right? Whenever there is a need of this is a program 1 and this is a program 2. Suddenly you want to execute a program 3 which is available in the backing store and there is no memory in the main memory. So what you have to do, you need to swap out one program from the main memory and you need to swap in the required program into the main memory, right? So for example, now program 1 is no longer required. So what or program 1 might be the low priority program. So in that case, what I will do, so I will swap out the program 1 from main memory to secondary memory. And what I will do, I will swap in the program 3 into the main memory. Okay, so this is called as a backing store or secondary memory, right? Swap in means from secondary memory to main memory or backing store to main memory. Swap out means from main memory to secondary memory. So automatically the program 1 will be here and program 3 will be swapped to here. Okay. So after some time, after completing the execution of program 3, again what we will do? We will swap in the program 1 into the main memory. Right? That is called as swap out and swap in. And next, what is a valid page and invalid page? So for example, my process is divided into 4 pages. Page 0, page 1, page 2, page 3. Okay. So this particular question is very important with respect to GATE or any interviewer might ask you the question. So please carefully listen. So the process is divided into 4 pages. Process is divided into 4 pages. Then in order to execute these pages need to be in main memory, right, for the execution. So process is divided into pages and the main memory is divided into frames. Main memory is divided into frames. This is important point, and process is divided into pages. Okay. So how many pages we have? 4 pages. For example, this is the main memory. This is the main memory and it is divided into frames. Okay. So these are the frames. Okay. Frame numbers. Okay. Page 0. Page 2. Page 1. Okay. So these are the pages available in the main memory. Then what is the page table? By observing this one, we can note down the page table, right? So page table has this is a valid or invalid bit. As we have a 4 pages, we are 4 entries in the page table. Page 0 and next page 1, page 2, page 3. Okay. Page 0 is available in which frame? Page 0 is available in which frame? Second frame. So frame number 2. Where the page 1 is available? Page 1 is available in frame 0. So if the page is available in the frame, it is called as valid page. And next, page 2 is available in fourth frame, valid. Page 3 is available in, is the page 3 available in a main memory frame? No, right? So page 3 is not available in the main memory frame. So it is called as invalid page. So here in this particular example, page 0, page 1, page 2 are valid pages. And page 3 is not valid. That means that is invalid page, invalid. Why? Because it is not available in the main memory frame. Okay. So which pages are available in the main memory? That will be indicated by V, valid pages. If the page is not available in the frame, it is indicated by I, invalid page. Okay. That means if the page is in main memory, it is valid page. If the page is not available in the main memory frame, it is called as invalid page. Important, very important. Right? So that is the concept. The same thing again. Here we have total 8 pages. 0 to 7 means 8 pages. So in those 8 pages, only ACF. ACF means 0th page, second page, fifth page are in the main memory. A, 0th page. C, second page. F, in the fifth page. That means 0, 2 and then 5. 0, 2, 5. These pages are available in 0th page is fourth frame valid. 1 B not available in the main memory, invalid. 2 C, 2 means sixth frame. Where the 3 not available in the main memory. 4 not available in the main memory. 5 means F, which is available in the frame 9. So valid. So these three are only valid if they are not in the main memory. Where they are available, they are in the secondary memory. Okay. If they are not available in the main memory, means they are in the secondary memory. So whenever there is a need, we can take them from the bagging store. Okay. So is it clear for you all? If the page is available in the main memory frame, it is called as a valid page. If the frame is not available in the main memory, it is called as invalid page. Okay. If there is a reference to a page, that means if you want to execute a page, what you need to do, you need to verify whether that page is available in the main memory or not. If the required page is available in the main memory, you can execute the page. If whatever the page you want to execute right now, if that page is not available in the main memory, then it is main memory frame, then it is called as page fault. Okay. Page fault means invalid reference, just not in the main memory. So then what we have to do, you need to check for the free frame. If the frame is available in the main memory, then you can swap a page into the frame. Okay, and then reset the table. You need to keep it as a B and restart the instruction that caused the page fault. Now this instruction you want to execute, load M. Okay, so this page, first what you need to check, you need to refer to the main memory page table, main memory page table. So in the page table, this particular information available, I means invalid. That means that particular page is not available in the main memory frame. In the main memory, it is a page table. First we need to check, right? Earlier what we did, in this particular table, whenever you want to check whether the page is valid or invalid, where can we get the information? From the page table you are getting the information. If the page is available in the main memory, if the page is available in the main memory frame, it is a valid. If the required page is not available in the main memory, it is invalid. So whether the page is available in the frame or not, how can we know that? With the help of a page table, valid and invalid bits, you can able to give an answer whether the page is available in a main memory frame or not. So whenever there is a requirement, whenever there is a need to execute a page, what you need to check? You need to check in the page table. Whether the page is available or not, you need to check in the page table. Okay. Follow the cursor. So first it's similarly, you need to check in the page table. In order to execute this one, you need to check the page table. But that page is not available in the main memory. What the page table indicates? I. If it indicates I means it is not available in the page table. What is the first step? You need to check in the page table whether that particular page is available in the main memory or not, main memory frame or not. Then it indicates I means invalid. That means it is not available in the main memory. Immediately what you did, you send a signal to the operating system. What the signal? Trap. Trap means error signal. The required page is not available in the main memory frame. Then immediately what the operating system will do? So if the page is not available in the main memory, where it will be? It will be in the secondary memory, backing store. So page is in the backing store. Third step. That means it is not available in the main memory. That means it is in the secondary memory. Okay. And then what it will do, we need to take the mm, page from secondary memory to main memory. In order to take the page from secondary memory to main memory, first we need to check whether the memory, free memory is available or not, free frame is available or not. Yes, there is a free frame. If there is a free frame, then what can we do? We need to take this particular page from secondary memory and we can keep it in the main memory. Whenever we keep it in the main memory, automatically what we need to do, we need to change this I bit to V. Why we need to change the I bit to V? Because now the page is in the main memory frame, so automatically we need to keep it as a V, and then we need to restart the instruction. Now you can execute the instruction. Why? The information is available in the main memory. Okay. So in our example also, the page 3 is not available in the main memory. Initially we want to execute page 3 now. Now we want to execute page 3. Page 3 is not available in the main memory. So it is invalid. So what you have to do, where the pages are available, all the pages are in the secondary memory. Let me draw it for you once again. So the entire, these are the pages. This is the main memory frames. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the main memory. These are the frames, right? Total number of process is divided into 4 pages. Page 0, page 1, page 2, page 3. Initially all these pages are available in the backing store. 1, 2, 3, and then 4. All these pages are available in the secondary memory or backing store. Okay. So page 0 is available in frame 1. Page 1 is available in page 3. Next page 2 is available in frame 0. Page 3 is not available, for example. So now you want to execute page 3. You want to execute page 3. You want to, execute page 3. So where we need to check, you need to check whether the page is available in the main memory or not. Where we need to check, you need to check in the page table. Page 0 is available in frame 1, page 1 is available in frame 3, and page 2 available in frame 0. But page 3 is not available. Page 3 is not available. So whenever you want to execute page 3, you will check in the page table. What it is, it indicates I. Okay, I means invalid. Whenever there is, this is the first step. Whenever it is invalid, what you need to do? You need to send a signal to the operating system, OS, trap. There is a there is uh, a page requirement or a page reference, but that page is not available in the main memory. When we want to refer to that particular page for the execution, the page is not available in the main memory. Such why we cannot execute the such that why we cannot execute the page. So immediately what the operating system will do? Operating system will send a so where that page is available, that page is available in the backing store. So operating system immediately refer to the backing store. This is the third step. So whenever the page is available in the secondary memory, what we need to keep this frame in page into the main memory. So operating system will check where the free memory is. Here the free memory. So how can we know? Operating system will not search for entry by entry. So we have a concept called free frame list. Free frame list. I already told you this one also. What are the free frames available? 2, 4. So operating system immediately check for the free frame list. Okay, 2 free frames are available. So what operating system will do? Okay, free frames are available, so that you can keep this particular information to the main memory. Main memory free frame. Okay. So main memory free frame. Already here page 2 is available and here page 0 available. Now this is page 2 is free. Page 2 is free, right? So this is a free frame, so that you can keep the page 3 here. Page 1. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now it will be updated. Free frame list will be updated. Like now the free frame list is 4. Why? Because already 2 is utilized by page 3. Okay. So whenever the page 3 is available in the frame, automatically what we need to do? You need to reset the I value to V, and the page table need to be updated. Now the page 3 is available in frame 2. That means you need to update page table and you need to reset I to V, and then this is the fourth step. Verify whether the free frame or not. Free frame is there or not. If the free frame is available, you need to keep the page from secondary memory to main memory, and you need to reset the page table. You need to change this I invalid to valid. Why? Because now the page is available in the frame. Okay. And then you need to send back the signal to the program so that CPU can execute the page. Okay. Is it clear to you all? Up to this concept, is it clear for you all? Is it clear to you all? Okay, thank you. Right? So now try to read out the lines. If you are trying to refer a page, the, then automatically the page is not available in the frame. What you are doing? We treat it as a page fault. What is a page fault? The required page is not available in a main memory frame. Then it is called as page fault. Then immediately follow the cursor. Immediately trap to the operating system. So operating system looks to another table to decide. Emani operating system will check the page table. If it is invalid, then just in not in main memory. It is that it is not in the main memory. So immediately it will take the page from the secondary memory and find a free frame. If it is a free frame available, if there is a free frame available, swap the page into the frame via the scheduled disk operation. Disk operations you will come across in the 5th unit, I think so. So initially you need to understand up to this point. Swap the page into the frame and then you need to reset the page table. That means you need to change the I to V, invalid to valid. Why? Because you are swapping the page from secondary memory to main memory frame, right? Now the page is available in the main memory frame. If the page is available in the main memory frame, it is a valid page, so valid bit. Okay. And then you need to restart the instruction that calls the page fault. What is a page fault? Page fault means that page is not in the main memory frame. Now the page is in the main memory. That is the thing. Okay. So this is the accept of demand paging, right? This is about valid and invalid pages, and this is about swap out and swapping. And coming to this one, so we observe this particular diagram. So what it is? It is a process composition and it is another process composition. What a process consists of? Code area, data area, heap, and then stack. Okay. So if the two process have the same code, then we no need to keep the shared data in the main memory 2 times. the same data, two processors are using the same data, then if you are keeping the same data into the main memory 2 times, automatically we need to keep the same data into 2 frames. That means 2 frames contains the same data. So it is a pure memory wastage. In order to avoid such a concept, so what we have to do, we need to keep only one copy into the main memory. The two processes are using the same copy. So that is called as a shared pace. I already told you, it is also called as reentrant code. Reentrant code means duplicate, copied paste. Okay, we no need to keep copy pages into the main memory frames, multiple main memory frames. In order to avoid situation, if these two processes are using the same page, then we'll keep only one page in the main memory frame. Okay. So it is already 10:15. I think you might have the another class. Do you have any doubts regarding this class? Let me know. In the next class, I will move on to the next topic. So I will let you know. No, thank you. So I will let you know whether we have a afternoon session or not. I will send a message to you through WhatsApp. Thank you. So now,
Ma'am, today at 1:30 we have Unix class, ma'am.
what?
At 1:30 we have Unix class, ma'am.
Unix class. Okay, okay then. Okay, some other day I will take the class, not an issue. So if you have any doubts, you might not ask me right now. When you come across the material, if you feel any discomfort while reading, you may ask the question via the WhatsApp, or you can send me a message. Okay? Thank you.